Hey guys, someone asked me in the middle of lockdown, what should they be reading to help them with their business? Now the truth is I have a really big bookshelf and some people who I greatly admire, so there's a massively long list, but I can tell you the stack that I immediately pulled off my shelf that I would give to anybody in business. Now I should say that this person had already read a few classics. The E-Myth by Michael Gerber is important for anyone in business. There's a few others like that, but here's some that I think might not be books that you've read, but are really, really useful. The first one is a book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman. It is a fantastic book. I leverage a lot of this empirically proven ideas in my own book and my own core marketing method. It's intriguingly interesting. It's not really a business book, but it explains how the human mind works in such a compelling way that it will really tell you how you think, but importantly how your customers think too. Now, second of all, I've had the great privilege to meet on a few occasions and have some discussions with Robert Cialdini. And Dr. Cialdini is one of the earliest social scientists that looked at the way that psychology impacts business. He's now retired, but occasionally will come out to give a talk. And as I said, I've had the great opportunity to meet him a few times now. His book, Influence, is essential reading. If you're in business of any sort and you're hoping to attract any kind of new customer, you must read Influence. And I'm cheating a little bit here. His second book that I would recommend is Pre-suasion. Get them together, read them both. You won't be able to put them down. They're both brilliant books. Thirdly, another Nobel Prize winner more recently, and like Daniel Kahneman, he's I guess a protege or kind of was influenced by Danny Kahneman. Richard Thaler, based out of Chicago, wrote an amazing book called Nudge. And this is again all about the psychology of human behavior and this notion of what we refer to as behavioral economics. But understanding nudge, as with Thinking Fast and Slow, will show you ways that you can be more mindful of the way humans operate with psychology when it comes to deploying your marketing efforts and your business and entrepreneurship. Fourthly, these are some really practical tips that you can take from the interesting world of business. Chip and Dan Heath are a pair of academic brothers who've written some great books, a whole series, but I really liked Made to Stick. I would recommend that book. It's, again, super interesting. If you like reading about quirky events from modern history or even from businesses that have tackled things in a really unique way, you're going to like Made to Stick. Again, another person who I've had the great pleasure to meet on a couple of occasions now is Nir Eyal. He's an interesting guy, a behavioral designer. He wrote Indistractable, and that's a really useful book for knowing how to use your time more efficiently. And I included this one because time is often a resource that small and medium-sized business owners overlook. They're often thinking about money. They complain about not having enough time, but they don't think of it in terms of a resource to invest. And I would recommend Indistractable. It will answer a lot of your problems if you're feeling rushed or never getting all of your stuff completed. He also wrote a really amazing book called Hooked. Now, Hooked is a book that's based primarily around technology, but it really aims to democratize a lot of the quirks of psychology that the big tech businesses that you know of, like Facebook, for example, have used to make sure that you are really hooked on their products. So Nir has written both of those books, and I can recommend them both. And then the final one on this page is a book called Alchemy by Rory Sutherland. Rory is a wonderful British man in the ad industry. He's a very creative person. He also understands these notions of psychology, and he's got some great thoughts on how to do things a little bit differently to promote a product or a brand. So I'd recommend reading that too. In fact, all of these I own not only as books, but as audiobooks, and they work in both formats. And there's one more book that I didn't put on the page yet, but I would recommend you think about. It's not really written explicitly for business, although his work historically has been mostly in the commercial world. And this is by an academic that I quote frequently in my articles named B.J. Fogg. And he very recently released another brilliant book that will help you personally as well as in business. So I'd recommend that you get online, look for B.J. Fogg, and the name of his book is Tiny Habits. It's a really great book, and like the rest of these, they really are essential reading for any business owner's bookshelf. All right, guys, we're all trying to survive this lockdown together, but I hope you're making the most of it in a way that still works for you. We're going to be back out there soon enough, I'm sure. All right, stay well.